Welcome back to the channel and another day to review some Reincarnation Coliseum. Before I get started, I want to thank you all for the support you give, and I hope it continues now that I'm a YouTube partner. Like, hooray. Like there finally, you know what I mean? It's been a long time coming, but enough about that. Let's jump into chapter 29 with Desmos blessing us with her big bazungas on the first page. As she sits in the box seats amused, a voice calls out to her from the doorway. Turning towards the voice, a hooded individual emerges as Desmos compliments them on having a good eye for buying a useful slave. Honored by the praise, he removes his hood to reveal his goblin-like features, baggy clothing, and pointed shoes. This man was not only Vivian's owner, but her slave partners as well. He is known as the Grand Merchant, G-Dust. Desmos comments that he is still as ugly as ever. The merchant laughs it off and responds that she is still as beautiful as ever. Amused by their back and forth replies, Desmos comments that only merchants like him would dare flirt with her. Continuing their conversation, Desmos asks if Vivian's tag partner Paula is strong. Right now, she's letting Vivian do all the taunting while she stays hidden under her hood. Desmos doesn't doubt his intuition, but she feels that the Vivian she knows can't beat Alice and Mikagami alone, so she's interested in Paula's strength. Dust replies that Paula isn't what you would call weak, but she is something. Since he has no intention of losing, he claims his slaves will have some surprises for her. Wondering what it could be, Desmos is looking forward to what's to come as the attention goes back to the arena. Alice calls on Mikagami to get things started. He kneels down in front of her as the crowd wonders what he's up to. Alice mounts him as if Mikagami was her horse, and phase 1 of their plan is complete. The crowd is confused, but Vivian takes his chance to mock Alice. Bursting into laughter, Vivian comments, "Seriously? A piggyback? Are you tired or something, Alice? How far you fallen to make that man carry you on his back?" With the crowd laughing it up, Alice gets irritated and threatens her. Wanting to start things, the hooded individual named Paula calls out to Vivian. Ditching her ragged attire and revealing herself, she asks how long must Vivian keep joking around. Coco, the announcer, is surprised that Paula decided to speak, being so beautiful and cute despite being Vivian's tag partner. Hearing what she said, Vivian gets irritated, then asks what she meant by that as the panel switched over to the audience, questioning her inclusion. They thought they would see a more seasoned fighter as Paula tells Vivian that she hates to be kept waiting. Vivian calls Paula such a character but is also ready to get things started. At that moment, Vivian and Paula go back to back and assume a fighting stance. Still irritated, Alice tells Mikagami to ready himself as well, to which he complies, much to his annoyance. Coco announces the fighters and signals them to begin. The crowd looks on, but someone watching mentions seeing Paula as a dancer from one of the taverns. Vivian and Paula make the first move by going at Mikagami and Alice from both sides at an incredible speed. Mikagami leaps into the air to avoid the hit, but Vivian and Paula start running along the barrier to reach them. With no other choice, the duo starts using spatial exchange continuously to swap places all over the arena. The crowd is enjoying every bit of it and comments that it's like seeing stars. Mikagami begins thinking about the next phase of the plan before panels go back to his time in the training area. Everyone appears except Chris, and he goes over the need to train with spatial exchange. Even though Alice can use it accurately, Mikagami cannot. Alice interrupts him by asking how she can beat those two, to which she points towards Mary and Catastrophe. Mikagami told Alice she could win without practicing, and now she wants to know how. Catastrophe and Mary frown on the issue before Mikagami replied that it is easy to figure out, but he'll explain it since she asked. What Alice has to do is not use spatial exchange at the start. Instead, use it right after Mary or Catastrophe make their move. Asking what he means, Mikagami explains that there's always a moment's opening between one action and another. Take jumping for example. A person can't do the same action until they land. Once you know that, observe the positioning of their body and measure the distance. As you figure it out, you'll be able to cover the length of space and gain the advantage. Mary frowns on knowing what could happen, while Catastrophe appears more interested if it does happen. Mikagami once again explains that Alice's spatial exchange activation takes 0.5 seconds, which means if a person can move faster than that, then they can dodge it. She has to look for the moment a person stops, but that's normally impossible, so she has to observe her opponents. At that moment, Mikagami cheerfully says, "It's that easy, right?" Catastrophe agrees with Mikagami and says that up until now, Alice has only been following the same attack pattern. Mary adds on that if it happens in the arena, then she won't lose. After telling her all this, Alice frantically states that she can't do it. Mikagami, feeling let down by her answer, asks if she's sure about that, but gets an irritated response from her. As Alice turns towards Mary, Marl, Katashmi, and Saizou, she asks if they can do it, to which they all reply that they can. Marl goes on to say that since they're all fighters, it's natural to observe when their opponents are going to attack, with Mary and Saizou nodding in agreement. Though Katashmi and Mikagami have good reflexes, he credits his skills to being a gamer. Getting into a new tag team plan, Mikagami tells Alice that she should focus on dodging while he handles the attack. After pleading that she'll attack too, Mikagami tells her that they'll lose if that happens, so just listen for right now. When Alice uses Spatial Exchange to swap their position, Mikagami will be using Spatial Exchange to attack at the same time. Their opponents will be aware of this, which is why Mikagami will continue using the skill to play Spatial Exchange like traps. Despite it being absurd, their opponents will be confronting them knowing that. Mikagami then puts his trust in Alice that they can pull this off, as the others are taken aback by his claim. Mary shows doubt and wonders if it's possible. Saizou says it could be possible if it's Marl. Even Marl herself says that she's not sure because it's too much. As the panel switch back over to the Coliseum, Mikagami says that even with level 5 stat boosts, this is something beyond what he imagined. Vivian and Paula's movements are way too chaotic and irrational. He knew something like this would happen, but not to this extent, as their opponents continue circling them at high speed. If they never stop, all he can do is try to predict where they'll be and place Spatial Exchange there. It will be tough to predict anything, he says, before Vivian asks him what's the problem. If you won't come to me, then I'll come to you, she says. Vivian then pulls shard-like objects and scatters them around her. Mikagami looks in confusion as Vivian calls out her attack and launches it towards the duo. In the panels, we see the attack get as close as possible before an explosion occurs. The crowd can only look on, wondering if it's over, with Coco commenting that no matter how you see it, getting hit by that means they're probably dead. Zulu and Marl watch from their seats, worried as the chapter comes to an end. So that was chapter 29 for Reincarnation Coliseum, and there are just a few things I want to talk about. The first is name placement. I'm pretty positive that Paula is in fact Vivian's tag partner's name, but when it comes to the merchant, it could be G, Gee, Gay Dust. It could be one of those. I'm not 100% sure, but hopefully someone can correct me on that when the other translations come out. The second thing is that I think there's more to Vivian and Paula than meets the eye. Both are familiar with each other, and when we first saw Vivian, she was at a tavern with her hood up. Paula appears with the same hooded-like outfit before revealing her own. So it's probably safe to assume that Vivian went to go get Paula, or recruited her after paying for her services, and that could mean like dancing or slutting her out. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. We know what Vivian's all about. Hell, Paula could be Vivian's girlfriend. For all we know, we don't know. We don't know the whole backstory on Vivian and Paula yet, so there's no telling what we're gonna really know. But what we do know, and we can't forget, is that she's taking L's and she's gotten W's. So we don't know all the slaves that the merchant actually has, if you get what I'm saying. But Vivian's bisexual, so I mean, there's that. Just from the stuff that she's pulling off early in the match, Vivian I'm talking about, this is kind of like what Mikagami would do if he had the advantage. And I can see why they're so similar now, because it's not just the taunting, it's the actual action. They know how to counter Alice, and that's where they're at incredible speeds to make sure Spatial Exchange doesn't hit. But we'll see what Mikagami does to shake things up and just go from there. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Keep on supporting, and I'll keep on uploading. Tune in next time and just holla at your boy. I'm gonna get on off here.